pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Jeff McCullough.
Here.
Ron Stoneman.
Here.
Jim Thompson.
Here.
Laney Roscoe.
Here.
Okay.
Looking for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
I would like to amend the agenda to add a couple items under new and old business. New business, fencing and sharing of maintenance, and under old business, tree replacement. Thank you.
Yep. Did we? So with those additions, I'm looking for a new motion.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say yes.
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 Those not approve, pass. All right, new business. Let's start with approval of minutes from April 10, 2025.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes from the April 25 meeting.
Okay,
Second?
all in favor, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed? Pass. Okay, new business, our new item is,
Fencing. I noticed new fencing along Maple by the playground. And I am aware that it did not come to the control board as our regulations state. And I guess I'm not sure why that happened. And I also, I think it should have been discussed, the total inaccessibility for taxpayers. So I guess I'm wondering if anybody wants to tell me how that happened.
I could just tell you that the improvements made at the park included that fence, and it also included an ADA compliant access to the park. So I feel potentially the access is increased because others can access inclusively.
But from what I could see is somebody to get in there would have to walk to the end of the block because there's no access directly off Maple, like perpendicular to the playground.
Where the new fence is also a cement access to the park.
From what direction?
Well, it's the north side of the park, right in the corner at the side, near the sidewalk.
Where there's a gate.
Yes, but the gate is open.
Is the gate going to be open forever?
I assume that, gaining access to the park, definitely we can review what we have there. The intention is not to block getting into the park.
So I didn't notice that specifically, but I did notice around the playground off of 6th Street, that looks like it's gated, maybe latched to keep kids in,
Yep,
but not necessarily locked to keep people from getting in.
that's correct.
Is that the case with this one as well?
Yes.
So it's latched, but it's accessible.
It's that big, long gate over the drive is what we're referring to by this one along Maple. Correct? There's not a small gate along Maple. It's the big one that covers the driveway.
I'll have to review it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
And some of that, would that still be on school property, or is it Sands Park where the fence went?
I think as the fence would go south, it would be encompassing part of the park.
Okay.
Yeah. And why
So-
I brought it to question.
Yeah, and there's so many meetings. I remember the ADA accessible pathway, the fencing, and some upgrades in that. I remember you presented it to the Parks Commission. I remember we went to the Tree Commission with it. I don't remember specifically if it went to Sands Park Control Board, but that would have been 2-3 years ago.
Correct.
So it was part of the overall improvements that were proposed.
Yeah, if it was discussed or approved at this forum, I'm not sure. But it definitely was discussed with the city, which is you.
And I guess what I recall from parks meetings is it was going to be accessible, you know, like it is now. Any improvements, because that's kind of been the stance of the parks, is that we wouldn't restrict current access, keep everything as it stands. So hopefully, you know, we won't get any complaints on how difficult it'll be as it stands now. I guess for myself, I'm disappointed there's no gate that's like, you know, 36 inches on the Maple Street side that would be perpendicular to the playground. That to me would signify accessibility as it was. So,
I'll have to look into that, what was actually on the ground there. I know we did some things, but I
okay.
can't off the top
Thank
of
you.
my head.
Well, yeah, certainly it was open there, so the public could get in
Right.
from off of Maple, and I think we should look at the configuration of what's there and make sure the public has access from that location.
I'd appreciate it. And I'm sure our community would too. I mean, the taxpayers especially. Okay.
Any other new business?
I guess the sharing of maintenance, I requested to be put on the agenda because when I read the regulations, it states that the city and the Manistee Area Public School District will share maintenance of the Sands Park. And I don't understand how that's happening, if it's happening. Because I see, for the majority of Sands Park, it's the city who's doing that. And if it's not being shared 50-50 as the regulations state, maybe we need to look at that and devise a program of maintenance.
City manager, do you agree with the interpretation of the covenant?
I'd have to review it, but I did think it's jointly controlled by this, I mean, basically this board governs the rules and how it's done. I don't know that we've had a specific motion on maintenance so it is something we need to address.
It's not mentioned in the covenant, you're saying?
I'd have to look at it. I'd have to verify that.
See,
I thought it spelled out that we, in conjunction with major projects. Have it with me.
have it with me.
Right now, the school performs maintenance on the playground, but the city performs maintenance on everything else, including the operation of the teen center building,
Right.
all the bills for that.
So that,
I have to counter the interpretation of the covenant to say that it states that the maintenance is on the city and large projects or projects are a shared responsibility, not general maintenance.
I think with the part I'm looking for, Mr. Gamble, would be prior to this section.
Okay.
Not sure.
If you have a specific section, we can.
I don't remember.
Scroll down a little bit, so
Yeah.
read the next section.
That's the property description. That's the title. Okay.
Conflict resolution, yeah, that's-
Should've rolled up my windows.
Phew.
Wow.
So this is the part I was referring to, like rules and regulations.
This is the deed, though.
Yeah, and that's where the, I mean, this kind of states the whole operation. I mean, this is,
And I've been referring to the regulations.
Well, I want to read that, please.
Yeah.
okay.
This is the regulations, just attached to the deed.
Yeah, the regulations, this is it's attached to the deed is
Oh.
actually
so-
stated.
Okay. Two's interesting.
Yeah.
It says for public school, and then the expenses necessary for other recreational activities shall be borne by the city.
Unless joint use. Mm-hmm.
So it seems like what we're doing is within scope of the deed.
I I think we've been operating from that
Right.
definition, acceptance or whatever for a long time.
Well, were regulations developed for a reason. And if I recall correctly, that's where it states. And I guess then maybe if we're just gonna look at the deed, then the city is maintaining parts that aren't necessarily recreational.
An example of our cooperation is the removal of tennis courts was billed to us half. And we agreed, I think outside of the covenant agreement, to pay some of the furnace in the building. And I believe that we stepped out of bounds of this agreement to do so. But we did.
So that, yeah, and there's another agreement with the AAY, and that kind of says that, you know, basically the AAY would do any tenable repairs, which would be like the furnace. So I think the city and the school, if they were to contribute, kind of contributed to the AAY outside of that agreement, but it's not defined that the city would do that. And I also think we don't have any language here exactly. Recreational activities, I guess the skate park, you could say that, but that's part of the AAY, really is how that started. So
Is there a reason why we aren't looking at the regulations?
you are looking at the Sands Park regulations. You're not looking at the AAY document.
This is the only operating document that I'm familiar with.
Right.
I guess
Yeah, this is the AAY agreement separate, if that's what you're referring to.
Maybe what I'll do is find what I'm referring to and forward it. I think that'd probably be the easiest, rather than taking up more time right now.
Any other new business? All right, old business. Skate park update discussion. I guess this would be you, John.
So at our last meeting, I agreed to get updated cost estimates for various treatments of the skate park surface, and then also an opinion on the life expectancy of that equipment. I put together a memo last week, kind of summarizing that. Kelly has it up on the screen. Spicer Group, our engineer of record, put together 3 different options for upgrading the surface. The first one is seal coating. So essentially it would do a crack sealing of all the existing cracks in the current asphalt surface, and then seal coat it, which is similar to what you do on parking lots, driveways, and so forth. That's a typical maintenance practice for hot mix asphalt. And really what's intended to do is to put a new layer that protects the existing oils in the pavement from UV ray destruction. This would fill in some of the surface voids. Probably would prolong the pavement life for 5 years. Has a $21,000 estimate. It would make it smoother. I'm not sure it would make it as smooth as what skaters would want. The second option would be to do an overlay. So basically, just putting a new, removing all the equipment from it and then putting another layer of new hot mix asphalt. That could be very smooth when it's completed. It's about $44,000. My expectation of the service life of that is probably 12 to 18 years based on how asphalt ages in northern Michigan, freeze-thaw cycles. And I noted in the memo that it would be very smooth in the first few years, and then over time the fines would kind of unravel from the surface and kind of return to kind of what we've got today. The third option that we priced out was concrete. Basically, you would remove the asphalt surface, keep the aggregate base underneath it, and then pour a thin 4-inch layer of concrete over the top of it. This is much more expensive, but it has a much longer life expectancy and would be extremely smooth and would stay smooth. So we had talked briefly about the various options and the various costs of those, and then Mr. Stoneman asked what the life expectancy of the equipment is. Why put a 40-year fix if you've got a 5-year life of the equipment? We had Sinclair Recreation come up. They kind of volunteered to do it, so we didn't pay them. And that's why it took a little bit longer, because I just asked them to come up when they were passing through.
It's kind of the full. Yeah,
Did they have anything in a document?
They didn't put it in a document.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing else.
So I just kind of summarized it in my memo.
Yeah.
But basically, they said the equipment is in pretty good condition, quote, pretty good shape is what he told me, and said it has some cosmetic issues. I mean, we can see where there's been fading of the paint, and there's been some graffiti and that sort of thing. They said that there's some recommended just replacing them, nuts and bolts kind of thing, but they thought that it had a life expectancy of at least 7 to 10 years. Personally, I think if they didn't find anything structurally wrong with it, like could even get into the 10 to 15, but they felt comfortable with 7 to 10 years. So.
Thank you. Any discussion related to this information?
I guess I'm wondering if these results have been discussed with the group that's trying to resurface it? No.
No.
Because I know they were interested in helping fundraise, and I guess they would know. I mean, I don't see any sense to spend $21,000 if it isn't gonna fix the problem. I don't know would it make it work for the expected life expectancy of the current equipment. So I'd like to know what they think.
I'm sure the users would prefer the concrete.
Yeah, but, you know, to come up with $220,000, but maybe they have a millionaire in their back pocket, I don't know. So,
Is that something that we want Mr. McCool to reach out and have that conversation related to Spicer findings or recommendations?
I don't think that would be a good idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
is that possible?
To talk with the people that are fundraising?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe let us know by memo what you found out.
Yeah. Because I know the city would be hard pressed to come up with even option 2, the overlay, so.
Well, personally, the concrete pad, like Jim said, the
Yes.
concrete pad would be the best.
Yes,
And then you've
absolutely.
got flexibility for 20, 30, 40, 50 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? And even if this equipment is outdated, gets replaced, you can do new,
Yes,
but you're not tied to the current layout. You can move stuff around, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so how would you fund that?
right.
The overlay, I think, would achieve all of the current goals, from what I've heard. It would make that surface smooth, but, you know, in 15, 20 years, then you've got to look at doing it again. It's no different than a street, right? The 21,000, if that's all the funding could be generated, you know, at that level, then I think that provides because remember, the first thing that we did was had the engineers evaluate the pavement, and the pavement is in good condition. There's some cracking. What we heard at our last meeting from the public comments was that it's rough, and so the transitions from the equipment to the asphalt, the roughness of the asphalt, just takes away from that skating experience and maybe even makes it unsafe. Seal coating helps that, but I don't think fixes all of it. So it's just kind of what the grand vision is and afford it. That's my opinion.
Any other questions or discussion? Anything else under old business?
Tree replacement, I know the city, there were some trees removed with construction of the new building, or remodeling of the building. And there were trees to be replaced, and I don't know if that has happened or when it's going to happen. So I'd like an update, I guess.
The landscape, I didn't drive by to see if they're in yet, but you know, we have trees going in and
Yeah,
or trees going in that were taken out.
yeah, well, there was one tree taken out to create access and for compliance. And so then one tree would have to be replaced in that area.
Wasn't it 2? I want to say, why do I think it was 2?
I think there was one by where the sidewalk goes, and then they took out one hazardous tree up by the corner there. You don't really see it, it was behind that big tree.
The tree commission, I remember their request was, because we took that to them because there was some in the park, which they have some jurisdiction over.
Well,
So we got an opinion.
do they?
Yeah. So, and their recommendation was, if we remove a tree, put a tree back. And it was just, that's where it was at. I don't remember the number.
But that was the initial intent, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where
And
we,
there's more trees going back than.
Right in Sands Park?
that's the intent, that we replace the ones that have been taken out. You know,
And I've seen they're actively doing the landscaping and, you know,
So, but it's not necessarily in the park itself, is that?
I don't think we've got any trees anywhere right now.
Okay.
That yet to be planted.
Okay,
And that we have to assume that 2 trees will get planted there, and that we will review that with the contractors if 2 were taken out. I know one was, pushing on our retaining wall a little bit there, and the integrity of that, we didn't want to charge replacing that wall to the Sands Committee. So the question of why we took them out was for space and integrity of that retaining wall in the parking lot.
I remember it too. It was, everybody was in agreement. And
Yep,
I was just looking for an update on that.
yep.
So, thank you.
We'll have to look at it just to see where trees are going, but there's a lot of trees going
Okay.
around the school.
Yeah, I
We're
went
good.
down Sixth Street today. There are a couple trees that are.
They're just starting to go up, yep.
Yeah.
Good. That's it.
Any other old business to discuss? Public comment? Come on up.
Thank you, folks, all know who I am. Because I call all the time. I have a couple of questions and I have a comment. The concrete would be the best for us. I think with a grant from the Community Foundation, that is attainable for us. We have a grant kind of in the works that's on the hold because we can't write the grant ourselves. It's either got to be the city, I don't know if the school can do it for us. I'm not sure if the Parks Commission can do it for us. But I have that grant all ready to go. I have somebody that's been talking to the Community Foundation that plans to see this through. So that's really up to your folks if we can proceed with that grant. The other thing, who owns the hill? Like by the parking lot, where the hill comes down to the old playground that's on Robinson Street? Because if that was my yard, the city would have come and cut it for me for $250 to start. Because that grass is about that high. The city did a great job around the teen center. They tore out some dead trees. They trimmed around the whole building, the bushes, everything. They cut the part that nobody ever can cut. It's like two property owners that won't go meet that line because they're not going to infringe on any line. But the hill is still atrocious. So I don't know who owns that.
Are you talking about north of the playground?
Yes.
Can you put that aerial back up, please?
Close the map, but.
I think that's outside of the park. But it's real close.
So to the north of the teen center?
It's kind of west of the teen center. Yeah. And
I know what you're,
north of the old tennis
I
courts.
think I've seen where it's overgrown, this hill here.
This one?
Yeah. I know we have a survey that would show.
See if it's on here, but. I can find that. I think I sent it to you earlier, but I don't have that available right now, but we can take a look at that.
Yeah. And then, I guess maybe let us know, Bill, when you look at it. That'd be good.
Okay, my other question is, the fence around the ballpark, right there, it kind of loops around. Is that coming down anytime soon, or is that going to stay up, or whose decision is that? To take it down or leave it up? Because my maintenance guys tell me that that fence could be pulled out and rolled up, and the ice skating rink could come closer to the building, which would be a win-win for anybody skating. Because that's a long way from the building to where that skate park sits, where the ice rink is. And if we don't have enough snow, then we have to look for something to lay on the ground, which is not as easy as you would think.
So, if you don't mind me addressing that, based on the last meeting, the school presented conceptual layouts that could happen in the future, and if those were ever implemented, that would impact that fence. But other than that, I don't think there's any plans currently to change that. Am I wrong?
Is there any way to fold that fence back? My maintenance guy tells me that it is.
I guess I'd wonder, because the MRA uses that ball field,
like to know what they think.
I don't want the ball field to go away or anything, but
Right.
in the fall when the kids are all done playing, it could come out of the ground and just be rolled back. And then in the spring, put it back.
Well, I think that becomes a little troublesome with all the posts. I mean, you can take the fence off and
Right, well, the posts would have to come out.
you'd have to take the posts out and then re-pour them every year.
Because that's a chain link, right?
Yeah.
Right,
So I'm sure they're cemented in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't, you wouldn't be able to just pull them up. It's not like a,
true, but my maintenance guy, who's my husband, he does that all the time. He says that there could be like a sleeve in the ground to put it in, to hold it. It's not like you'd be doing the whole fence. You would just do 2 or 3 posts just to bring that ice rink closer to the building. And actually, if you put the ice rink back on the ground, that'd solve everything.
The only concern I would have with that is, and if you see on the screen, just to the left or west of that number 700, there's a black dot. That's the lowest, that's a drain. So it's the lowest part. And even the way the rink is set up now, it takes much longer to freeze because that's a lower spot. It's probably 6 inches lower than the south end. So you have to freeze 12 inches of water on one end and 6 inches on the other. And that's the closest that people use. Ideally, if that area, wherever we put that rink, if it was flat, would make it much easier for that ice to form and to maintain it. But we had always talked in the schools, I don't know what you want to call it, but your conceptual or potential revamp of that puts the rink much closer to the building and kind of a east-west orientation as opposed to the north-south that we're currently putting it at.
Is there enough room to do that with that fence sitting there?
That fence would be gone with that proposal.
Well, then it's a win-win.
Yeah, what was in the school's concept was, in place of that ball field, putting in kind of a multi-use field for youth soccer and football, if I recall. And it would kind of start where the infield is in the ballpark and then run in a perpendicular form east to west. That would still leave grassy area out adjacent to the playground in the northeast corner, and then leave a grassy area for the rink in the northwest corner.
I think Sands Park is big enough to put those soccer fields on the east end of that property. Because you have little kids there, it's not like you have grown adults there, so those fields would be smaller.
Yeah, this was a smaller field.
And you could still keep the baseball part if you needed to.
I'm just referring to what they had
Okay.
presented at the last meeting.
And I'm just asking. And this is my fundraising board right here. Jill is the director. Nate did a fundraiser for me. Gabe did the GoFundMe page. But we'll be glad to sit down and talk with anybody that wants to talk to us. Okay?
Any other questions?
No? Do you have any questions for me?
I do not.
Okay.
So I'll be in touch with you so we can sit down and discuss this for the skate park.
Well, maybe we could talk about that grant also.
Yeah.
And Jeff, real quick, how much of it, is it difficult to move the skate park equipment at that parking lot? I'm just curious if they put the skating rink over there during the winter.
I had some internal discussions about if a new surface gets put on it, how could it be done? And we think we'd have to disassemble everything.
Okay,
by hand.
it's not easy to move, okay. Thank
Some of them are smaller pieces that we may be able to get a forklift underneath and move them. We've also talked about looking to see if a rigging and a crane could move them. I'm not confident that you can rig them and lift them without bending them.
Tweaking them.
Understood.
Tweaking them, and then, you know, some of those are just very large. So maybe just partially disassembling them and moving them off-site for renovation. To do that annually, I think would be tough.
Yeah.
And it's not level either. It's not level at all.
Okay.
Cutting the life out of that equipment.
Yeah.
Any other public comments?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much. My name's Gabe Riem, and I am one of the fundraisers. And just, yeah, as far as money goes, I know Jeff had asked how much we had raised. I personally did not raise that much money. I think it's around like $650 or something. But I think, well, Jeff's observations about, you know, the seal coat not being particularly the best option is correct. Unless that $21,000, and does that include lifting up the skate park equipment, moving it, and then seal coating it, or just seal coating around it?
None of these options included any cost for moving that stuff.
Okay,
My assumption was I'd have to do that in-house.
gotcha. Yeah, because just seal coating around it definitely wouldn't fix the problem, because the ramps have already sunk in so far. And I'm not an engineer, I don't know anything about, you know, concrete or building, but as a lifelong skateboarder, I'm just gonna kind of share my thoughts and opinions. And like with obviously the concrete resurface is the best option, but with that amount of money, if there were a community foundation grant to cover it, there's better options than just laying down concrete and then putting on the old equipment. Like the newer skate park in Frankfurt, I've seen mixed numbers in the paper as to how much it costs. But there's a company called Evergreen Skate Parks out of Oregon, and they basically build cement skate parks about that size for about $200,000. And they're all cement, and they're very popular nowadays. They're kind of a new design. You can use scooters in them, you can use skateboards, they're very accessible for kids of all ages, and an evergreen skate park would fit in that space very well. So that's just one of my suggestions, because spending $220,000 to put concrete and then putting some old ramps up there that are gonna deteriorate in 7 years doesn't make a whole lot of sense either, when you can build a very nice, beautiful skate park for a similar cost price. And I was talking to Gordy of Gordy Skate Parks in Ludington, and they basically completely raised their money in the community for that Ludington skate park. One of the primary sources of money was Dow Chemical, which was a big company in Ludington at the time, and I think they donated like $150,000. So I guess some of my ideas are beyond community grants, reaching out to community organizations, and I don't know who that would be up to, if that would be the community like myself and other public advocates, or if it'd be up to the city or to the AYA, or who would do that. But reaching out to the big money makers in the community like Morton Salt or Martin Marionetti, or whoever might be able to raise some funding to assist in building a brand new skate park, because again, back the overlay option, you know, also not so good, because if, you know, every 5 years you have to spend $20,000 to reseal coat it, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, anything other than concrete. So I guess my suggestions are, you know, if we can go bigger and better, raising the big amount of money and getting a better new skate park, in kind of forgetting about the old equipment, which obviously it's not my equipment to get rid of or to say what to do with it. But as a lifelong skateboarder, that would be the best option for skating.
It's the one in Frankfurt, that's all like below ground, so there's really no structures, it's all cement.
It is all cement, exactly. And yeah, it's kind of like a pool almost. It's below ground and it kind of like flows around. It's very different than the skate park in Ludington, which is, the skate park in Ludington is kind of like a traditional skate park that you might see in California or other West Coast cities, Whereas these new evergreen skate parks, they're very unique and they're kind of a different kind of way of skating that a lot of people are enjoying, and they're very popular nowadays. Additionally to funding money, there used to be an organization called the Tony Hawk Organization, where Tony Hawk essentially, he would go into under-resourced communities that didn't have skate parks, and he would be like, hey, here's $500,000, let's build a skate park in Detroit. And unfortunately, they don't do that anymore. But they've kind of segued into a different organization called the Skate Park Project, which is at skatepark.org. And they're really an advocacy group for finding funding and grants and things to raise money for communities that are interested. So I think, you know, for us or for whoever, looking into the skate park project and seeing what additional grants are out there to raise as much money as possible. Yeah, other than that, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, so I want to thank everyone definitely for taking your time and money and support and your interest in this project to kind of figure out what to do next. I know there were only a few voices kind of vocal about it, but I know a lot of people would benefit from the skate park. So I want to thank you all for your time and for everything that you all have put in. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other public comments? If there are none, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
All those in favor say yes?
Yes.
And opposed? All right, thank you, Kelly.